After successfully passing his provisional license exam, Deku seeks out an extracurricular internship with a professional hero agency. After the recommendation of his mentor, All Might, Midoriya lands a position under All Might's former sidekick, Sir Night-Eye, now a famous hero in his own right. As Midoriya's classmates further through their own abilities through various internships and up-and-coming villain, Chisaki utilizes terrifying powers to gather favor in the criminal underworld. Known by the moniker Overhaul, Chisaki's ambitions collide with the League of Villains and its leader, Tomura Shigaraki. Quite an interesting premise, if I do say so myself. Also, hey guys, what's up? Lucky Cheese 7 is here today to give you guys a My Hero Academia podcast. Yeah, it's like, I know, it's like, wow. Y'all know my stance on it. Y'all know my stance on how I feel about the story and whatnot and the manga. But we're not here for that. We're here to talk about Season 4. And like always, y'all know, I can't really do the podcast by myself. I mean, technically I could, but what fun would that be? Just have me here like every other YouTuber talking about a set series when I could be doing that with a buddy or a friend. So I've brought with me not one special guest, not two, but three. And now I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello everyone, BlueStarSaber here, once again to join Lucky Chi on another My Hero Academia podcast.
Manga Reader, second time My Hero Academia podcaster.
A reference.
Hello everyone. Help. Yes, interrupt me, Blue Star. Ugh, just like always. Anywho. Yes, as you can tell by my lovely, lovely voice, this is LKNMJH, also known as Steve. And this, I think, will be the fourth time I've talked about My Hero Academia. I really don't know. I'd have to double check on that.
I believe you talked about Season 2, you talked about the movie, and I believe you talked about Season 3, I think, possibly.
Yeah, fourth time.
And
we're all heroes at heart.
And Manga Reader was there for the Meta Liberation Army arc.
Yeah. The also fun villain arc. Yep. Which I guess this is still technically the villain arc too, so. Woo!
Theoretically it is. But given that we're in Season 4, some of you may have been thinking that, okay, Season 4 was done a while ago. Well, I'm sure Lucky T's going to plan out a podcast on that at some point. Here's something interesting that I'm going to say, and I think this is a good way to go into our initial expectations. But when it came to this season in particular, this was the arc that I'm not necessarily going to say that I didn't like, but not necessarily say that I loved either. It was kind of like in that, I was kind of like in the middle when it came to this current arc, like not in the manga, but as far as the anime is concerned. So I was kind of like, well, you know, maybe like I'll wait to see like how the anime was going to tackle it. And so I just kind of waited on it. I just waited for the whole season to finish up. And it wasn't until like a couple weeks ago that I actually started binging it. At least for me, I was like, well, all right, like I guess now I can check it out. Expectations-wise, in and of itself, again, knowing what I read in the manga, it was kind of like one of those things where Season 3 was kind of like the biggest moment for me because I was really looking forward to that. And Season 4, there wasn't a lot per se as far as like the first arc's concerned, but I was kind of more looking forward towards the second arc and the season. But as far as like my initial thoughts go for Season 4, that's kind of it. What about you guys? What were your initial expectations for Season 4?
Well, before Season 3 concluded, I assumed that the entire internship arc was just going to be Season 4. But then, of course, a few of the episodes that are expected to be in season 4 ended up being in season 3. So I assumed after that it would just be the first half would have been the rest of the internship or Yakuza arc or Shisekai arc thing. Half would be having the little in between mini arc, and then of course the culture festival with Midoriya versus the Criminal Gentle as the big boss fight of the season finale thing. Fun enough. Let's see. No, okay, go on, Manga Reader.
Thank you for your lengthy discussion. No, it's all good. Expectation-wise, I mean, I don't know. Anime somewhat has a slightly higher standard given their animation budget, it seems. Or, I don't know how much it actually is, but I don't know. It was pretty much it just played out exactly like the manga, other than obviously the start of season 4 for whatever reason. But, yeah, can't say there was any big complaints.
Yeah, reading the manga first and then just waiting for this to be adapted, I was surprised that, kind of like Blue Star, I was surprised that the last couple of chapters, which were initially one would assume you'd start them, at the beginning of season 4.
Yeah.
But as it ended up turning out, those chapters happened to be the tail end of season 3. And so then I was left wondering, well, then how is season 4 going to be adapted? Like, what kind of pace are they going to take with this? And I'll discuss it more later on. But suffice it to say, yeah, Lucky Chi, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I thought season 3 was a little bit better, but overall, it wasn't a necessarily bad adaptation. But we'll get into that.
Oh yeah, we definitely are. And kind of similar to the last 2 podcasts, it's got a structure. It's nothing as crazy as, say, like how the Naruto Anniversary podcast have been, or Manga Wars. No, this one's pretty simple. Like I said, we started with initial expectations. Best episode, best arc, least favorite or worst arc in this case, favorite opening, and then predictions for season 5. And saying that, let's get to the next point right now, the best episode. Which, that's kind of tough, because I have a couple episodes in here that I actually liked, but I can't necessarily decide on which one I'm going to pick, so I'll let you guys decide.
Well, for me, my best episode would be episode 74, just straight up, oddly enough, titled Lemillion. Considering the other episode titles that this anime has had, it's not necessarily the best. I mean, when you talk about Lemillion, there's at points you're going to have to bring up. So when I say Lemillion, I mean the character, not the episode.
No.
But as far as best episode, easily episode 74, Lemillion is just for me. I always like it when the fights start off good. And when I was reading this in the manga, the fight did start off good. So I was wondering, are they gonna be able to keep up the same level of quality in the anime? And suffice it to say, yes, they did.
I guess for me, I have like a few episodes that come to mind, though I probably keep the summaries brief just so Steve doesn't get too angry. Let's see. From the episodes that particularly stand out for me, I guess, Batgum Kirishima episode in which they're fighting that, let's see, Yakuza, I believe his name is
72 or 73.
Yeah, that dude, the brawler with the shit. Yeah. And I mostly like it just because how heavily focused it is on the side character of My Hero Academia about his journey from being a lack of confidence into a man of, that would become a brave hero and something like that. I just like the balance in that bit. And like Steve, I also liked the Luminium episode due to the fact that just showing like Luminium going through villain after villain to reconcile, losing to save her, and even when everything, he's still fighting, showing that he's like, he's still a hero regardless if he has to quote or not. I don't realize it at the time yet. And I think it also helped have the emotional music with it, especially towards the end where it's like if his desire to be a hero. And I think in the second half, I do quite like the final bit with Gentle versus Midoriya and the episode where the Cultural Festival actually begins, where you actually hear like 1A's performance band. I thought that was a pretty good song. I think it was mostly done in English, which kind of surprised me, but yeah. So it'd be between those three, I suppose. You could also possibly, I'd probably say the best fight scene came from Endeavor versus the high-end Nomu at the end. But yeah, Manga Reader.
I think the ones that really stuck out to me were episode 68, Let's Go, Gutsy, Red Riot, which was where Kirishima actually had quite a few episodes in this, at least at the start of the series, which was something, I mean, obviously having read the manga, I knew it was coming, but if you went into this not knowing who Kirishima was, you'd actually be surprised at how prominent he kind of ended up being.
Yeah.
I've actually saw some YouTube comments going to like, Kishimoto, this is how you develop side character.
So, to see episode 68 was pretty neat. It's like Blue Star was saying, Kirishima had reasons. You didn't learn it per se in that episode. You kind of catch glimpses as to why he became a hero. But then, remarkably, like 4 episodes later, 72 Red Riot, and then 73 Temp Squad. I mean, I guess you could argue those were still 2 Kirishima because that fight took place over 2, which is what Blue Star was talking about, Facom and Kirishima versus the Yakuza. Those 2 were pretty emotional episodes. It was pretty cool to see Kirishima like just become a character instead of like this guy that revolved around just kind of brute strength and really just any type of characterization. Yeah.
Being the one guy that Bakugo can actually put up with.
Yeah. It was cool to see him kind of become like a reason as to why Bakugo and him are kind of friends, because they both have like the sense of geez, you want to be a hero situation. I mean, yeah, Lemillion was good. I actually kind of liked 79 Win Those Kids' Hearts. It was interesting to think about the new generation and how everything going around them, kids actually do pay attention to situations, but at the same time, when you pamper them up, they kind of become a little arrogant, I guess is how Bakugo would have put it. And I think one of Bakugo's best lines happened in that episode was, if you look down on everyone, you won't be able to see your own weaknesses.
Yeah, so it shows character growth from his,
Yeah, there's a big reason why everyone's talking about, basically that episode forward, Bakugo becomes like maybe one of the biggest character developed characters in the entire series.
I still remember the early days when people say he's just going to become another Sasuke.
Oh yeah.
And to be honest, he came very close.
He did.
He ordered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 3 had him at the brink.
Yep. So, Lucky Chi, that just leaves you now.
I'm gonna pick an interesting episode. I don't remember which episode it was specifically, but I actually really liked while the fight with the Deku and Gentle was going on, and you got to see his backstory with Labrava.
I believe that was episode 23 or 22.
I think so, yeah. I like how it wasn't exactly, like he got stuck in like a horrible situation, and that's what kind of led him down the villain path. It was just that he was, trying to do good things, and it ultimately kind of blew up in his face. Kind of like as time went on, people just kind of forgot about him, and that's kind of pushed him over the edge and trying to be a villain, but also just kind of going a little bit into Gentle. I kind of like that, he wasn't like one of your standard villains from My Hero Academia. Like he was doing like petty crimes and whatnot, but the part I found most amusing was that he was just doing it simply for views. It's like, yeah, look, as far as like taking over the world's concerned and causing bloodshed, I could care less about that. So views. That's all I want to do.
By the way, here's some interesting trivia for episodes 21 to at least 24. Apparently, due to COVID-19, the Funimation did a disclaimer saying that those episodes, the voice actors were able to record their lines safely from home. So the episode you were talking about, all the voice acting there was done at home. At least,
yeah, I really like that. And also, La Brava's backstory was, I'm not going to say it was the most tragic thing I'd ever seen, but I did kind of feel bad for her. And the fight between Gentle and Deku was pretty good, too.
I mean, it was good in the manga. It was going to be good in the anime, no matter what.
But I guess from if we're looking at it from like a brawl standpoint, I would definitely say it's the episode in which Endeavor and Ian face off. I'd probably say that's like the best episode of the season.
Yeah, facing off the very last episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Usually, it's a bit surprising since the big final fight of the season is usually the episode before last episode, and that's more of a cool-down epilogue.
Normally.
But granted, let's see, I think none of us were expecting the pro-hero arc to be done, or at least part of it to be done as the final 2 episodes of the season. I think we all expected that for season 5.
Which, okay, I'm gonna bring a question real quick. So, in terms of like the anime, the All Might versus All for One fight, or the Endeavor versus Hyan fight?
Endeavor versus Hyan.
Yeah.
Before that, if you were to ask me, I would have said All Might, but now it's, the anime has one-upped itself.
It did.
I think it has a lot to do also with the build-up, at least the earlier build-up for Endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
In that same episode I was talking about where Bakugo had his growth, that was actually an underlying Endeavor growth episode, too.
That's right, yeah.
That was when he talked with All Might about his idea, what makes the symbol of peace. And All Might's like, I never really thought of it. I think it's just whatever you aim to be. You gotta make it your own. Don't try and follow what other people.
That's it. I guess I might still be a bit more in favour of just the All Might versus All for One, just because of the emotions, and of course it's a hero's final stand. But Season 4 probably does have better animation. I'm still quite a fan of the United States of Smash.
I just think from a pacing standpoint, like the Endeavor versus a Hyan fight was a lot more fluid than the All Might versus All for One fight.
Well, I think in that season they added a few extra scenes, particularly of crowd's reaction to All for One's power-ups, as a given a sense of terrifying dread.
I think, yeah, you're great about that. But yeah, ultimately, that's what I would consider the best episode. Would probably be the last episode, which is his start.
Yeah.
And now that brings us over to the worst episode, excluding the recap. Let me make
excluding the recap. Damn it!
Because that'd be too easy to say.
Make our jobs harder, why don't you?
Well, I guess for me would be episode 17, the conclusion of the licensing trainee arc, where the animation and all that stuff is pretty good in there, and how they sort of managed to win over the kids with like fun rides and stuff, and of course,
you hate my favorite episode. No.
How could you, Blue?
It wounds me. No, I don't care.
Okay, hear me out. Just hear me out.
I do hear you.
Let's see. So, it's like all that stuff. What Manga Reader says is good, and like let's see, Endeavor and All Might's conversation, and Endeavor's decided to become a hero. I just kind of felt it a bit uneven, just due to the fact that the let's see, what was the Aoyama stuff at the second half felt a bit uneven with it, and kind of the most fillerish kind of thing. In the granted, it was to build up for Midoriya and Aoyama sort of like team upping in the festival, where Midoriya would help Aoyama in the lights. It just kind of felt a bit uneven, I guess.
I don't know if I taking away the recap episode, I don't know if I have a worst episode of this arc. I mean, I guess if we were if I could, the group of episodes 81 to 86, the school festival. I don't think after the excitement that was season 4, I don't think we needed. I mean, yeah, this was in the manga, and yes, this is what immediately followed it. and I guess this is more in terms of what the manga did rather than what the anime did, but still.
It was kind of an extended episode.
It's like, did we really need, like, yes, we need to show Aftermath, but did we need, right away? I think like 1 or 2 episodes of Aftermath would have been good, and you could have just ended the season right then and there. But no, before we have to get through, before we have to get to episodes 87 and 88, we got to sit through episodes 81 through 86.
So in other words, you feel like this, like for most of the second half, should have been just done for the next season instead of season 4?
Kinda. I mean, considering the episode count, 24 episodes they kind of need to, they kind of needed it, but still, as far as pace, it's like maybe you could have thrown in, I don't know, a couple of filler episodes about the Aftermath before leading into the school festival. But for what it's worth, those remedial episodes that came before where, Endeavor has his talk with All Might and all that. It's like that was actually, that was actually needed. Sports Festival was not.
It's not really per se a bad episode for me. In fact, I can't really claim worse as being anything in this season per se.
Yeah.
Since everything probably Steve was just mentioning, you kind of have to include it because it was in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, the weakest, though, might have actually been, ironically, the climax, the infinite 100%.
Oh, is that the one with the...
Yeah, where Midoriya faces off and against Chisaki with the infinite.
Yeah, episode 76.
Like, 76.
I have to admit, in that episode, they played some music where I felt like would have been an Attack on Titan. So go on.
Yeah. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't bad. It's just in terms of weakest for me, because I think, as Midoriya goes on to say, he technically didn't win by his own ability, rather because he needed Ares' help with it.
Yeah.
Again, visually, it was pretty damn awesome. I don't know if it followed. I thought in the manga that he still had his gloves on, but maybe he didn't. Maybe I didn't pay attention too much. So I thought maybe they took some liberty there with how damaged he ended up getting from the 100%. But I'll admit I didn't when I saw him colored, I didn't think that was what he would be colored to look like. Again, it was pretty cool visually, but in terms of a conclusion to a fight, obviously you expect with One for All that it should just be OP as hell, but to see the fight kind of just become that one-sided.
Literally one punch.
Essentially. It's like all this stuff Deku had to do in this one fight without having like any real experience in that situation. I know it's supposed to show that it's his ingenuity, but it was more Bakugo level-esque forward thinking.
I mean, I guess you could argue that at this point, this is just a staple shonen manga. It's like, as much as we complain about it, it's still going to end up happening.
Exactly. Like I said, it's not a bad episode, and just in terms of if I had to pick a weakest episode, that one for me was somewhat on the weaker end.
I mean, I remember reading it in the manga, and the artwork there was pretty cool, so I was glad to see it translated well. Yeah. Into the episode proper, so
Yeah, it was pretty good.
But yeah, I get what you're saying though. But
Granted,
what? Granted, what now?
I do think like when Overhaul gets his like 2 powered-up forms, I felt they were a little bit less impressive compared to the manga's design. I thought they were a bit more terrifying in the manga, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen them, but yeah.
I think it had
kinda. I mean, depending on your point of view.
Manga does just do black and white, so that could also be a case of it. But I think my only other thing, I know some people like the emotional theme. I actually don't particularly care for it. The You Say Run emotional theme. I mean, I know why they did it, but I don't know. I just like regular Yusei Run more than anything. I don't think I needed lyrics to go with it, is all I'm saying. They could have just had it be slow. And
I guess.
Didn't need lyrics,
I can agree with you on that. I guess it doesn't actually need lyrics, but still.
Right. People can get mad at me. I know that's not a popular opinion. I'm just saying that I like the more hypier theme Yusei Run more so than the slow undertone. Yeah. For the moment, it worked. I just don't know if I needed the lyrics for it. That's all. It's my 2 cents, guys. If you wanna burn me to hell in the comment sections, no matter how many people actually comment on this video, go ahead.
Manga Reader, I just have one thing to say to you.
What?
I echo your sentiments about the episode because it's actually the weakest episode for me.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this: as far as the manga goes, that pacing was kind of slow. When I was like, because I was
admittedly,
I was like, okay, I get what they're trying to do, but it's kind of messes with the flow a little bit. So the anime at least fixed that. That being said, the content within the manga itself is still pretty much there. So
right.
I think it depends on which content you put in the episode, because I think the Kirishima stuff was done much better in the anime than it was in the manga.
I think it only covered one episode, right?
Yeah.
For what, the Chisaki one or the
Kappa one?
Yeah,
the one with the, I believe it's Kappa, the Yakuza the Yakuza.
Yeah, that only happened in one manga chat, because I think it kind of I know it really kind of ended in the one episode, but it still kept going in the second. But
a little bit, yeah.
It
didn't drag out as much as it did in the manga. That's for sure.
No,
I think the flashback was cut into 2 or 3 chapters, really, when it could have been done in 2 or 1.
Probably. I guess the only other thing about this, and this isn't really a anime problem per se, rather I guess it goes to the manga as the source material for this, but 20% Deku seemed rather underwhelming. I know that was also in the manga too. Like I said, that was more a manga issue than anything, and obviously I wasn't on the podcast for that one.
I think the biggest problem for that was you at first you get hyped up for 20%, but when it does very little, the curve goes down a bit, and then Midori goes to 100% thanks to Eri, and then it's like,
like, oh shit, that's a bit massive jump. But I mean, 20%. I mean, we don't obviously know how much All Might ends up using, but we saw in the very first episode that even in his weakest state, that he's able to change the frickin' weather.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that 20% of Deku's power, I think I read somewhere, or at least fan opinion, that 20% isn't necessarily a cap, just what Deku's capable of using in his current peak.
Remember, in All Might's Mighty, All Might once said when he was battling the Nomu that if he had time, he would have taken 5 hits to beat him.
Yeah, it took 300 compared to the 5. But it's just like, you saw Lemillion almost single-handedly beat the Chisaki and his henchmen. And frankly, he actually took on 4 of them, really, if you want to be really apparent with that. And it's not like Lemillion has this strength-boosting quirk. It's just as his permeation works, it's literally maybe the momentum increases his power or something like that. But
it's just the fact that he's trained so hard. In some ways, he's kind of like Rock Lee and Naruto, where he's trained to the absolute limit.
Right. To see him do better than 20% is like, holy crap, either he's really strong or 20% is kind of underwhelming.
Well,
and
it's not about his power per se, but this is a theory I had whenever I was reading the manga. I assume when you talk about his cap one of say 20% or 15 or whatever,
right?
I thought, and this was just me, I thought that was Koei's way of putting okay, this is how far the story is so far in the manga. So if it's 20% Deku, that's where 20% of the series, and then he goes 100%, and I'm like, well,
never mind.
So, Unlucky Chi, if you're thinking that, you're just making me think of the latest arc in My Hero Academia, which Midoriya's percentage has increased. That makes me think that that percentage means we're that much done with the manga now.
That's what you were trying to think. Well, I was just thinking, because, 8% put Deku on at least an equal or level field with Bakugo, who we would all assume would still do better against Chisaki in this arc regardless. So to see that from 8 to 20 and didn't really, I think Chisaki did have his power up going at that time too.
At least.
So it wasn't like he was fighting regular at that time, but you'd think everything increases. I don't know. I thought it would have just a slightly better showing than what it ultimately ended up having.
This is why I just turn off my brain whenever they throw out baseball statistics
Numbers.
like that. And it's like, do we really need baseball statistics to compare how strong one character is to another?
Right.
Dragon Ball attempted to do that during the Z portion, and look how much it mattered after the Frieza arc.
But everyone held on to it.
I also argue another manga would be Seven Deadly Sins as well with its power levels.
They've even technically tried to bring it back because, Frieza comments on Broly's battle power. It's like, holy crap, we're bringing this back.
Yeah.
But that's a different
one
story.
One of the lesser aspects of Super Movie that I don't particularly. Anywho,
yeah.
So yeah, I get a.
Numbers are weird.
Yeah, it's like, yes, character progression, but also, really, we're gonna throw out some inconsistencies within our own manga now.
Yeah.
I guess on the other hand, you could theorize that, Deku, he isn't properly trained like All Might was. All Might at 20% of his power could change the weather. What can Deku do? Break his own frickin' arm.
Break his arm. Let's not forget that I think All Might himself claimed when he got the power, he instantly knew how to do everything.
Yeah.
My body adjusted almost instantly. I know I was a weakling even back then, before I got this power. But, I became the ultimate symbol of peace.
You're good.
But also didn't have the ability to do half the other crap that you're capable of doing now, Deku. Season 5 is going to be interesting.
We'll get to that discussion when we get to it.
I know.
But okay, but it's like I said though, like when it came to like the material itself on the manga, that was kind of where I was like, okay, so I already had a suspicion they were just gonna follow how it was done in the manga. It was slightly better, just from a visual standpoint, but in terms of like the execution, it was still the same. So
I was kind of hoping for that episode they would have expanded a bit more on that first fight that was kind of cut off screen a bit, where all the girls are fighting the big giant Yakuza.
That thing.
I mean, you do have like the end bits of it, so I guess it works out.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they showed that at all in the manga.
No, it was definitely, they just came towards the end.
And they realized, holy shit, we adapted this manga at a breakneck pace.
Crap.
Let's slow it down a bit.
Yeah.
Granted, some of the chapters in the arc, I think, were starting to become 13 pages. That might have been another reason.
That's the somewhat problem with My Hero Academia. Obviously, their arcs aren't necessarily... It hasn't been notorious for super long arcs.
Although, in saying that, I did think this was gonna like stretch into most
the whole series. Yeah,
because I think the manga was 42-ish chapters. I think
it might have been.
Yeah,
roughly. Yeah.
The first arc that had a similar length to something like Naruto or One Piece, on its average arc chapter, they got One Piece before the time skip.
Yeah.
I'd like to give the honorable mention to the Sun Eater episode, because that one was actually, I mean, it played out like the manga, but it was a pretty good episode to give Sun Eater a little story.
One thing I do kind of find interesting is that in this season, you had the villains using the power of friendship and love.
Oh, God.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, I mean...
a lot of the villains, actually.
I was surprised when I first read that in the manga. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this trying to twist it on its own head? Turn it upside down on its own head? Where the villains are using the heart of the card speech?
Oh, no. Turns out we were all gentle criminal all along.
Oh, well. Fun trope, I guess.
Shoot, if you think about it, this is rather a nice homage.
Yeah, I mean, it was at least funny reading that in the manga, you know.
Oh, shoot.
And yeah, I laughed at it when it happened in the anime, too.
I was just...
Who's gonna lose?
I remember, like, when that part came in the manga, like, when that chapter came out in the week, I was like, wait a second, what?
Deku's gonna lose to the power of love.
Oh, gentle, but...
As Huey Lewis on the news once stated, the power of love, it's a curious thing, makes one man weep and another man sing.
Poetry.
It is kind of interesting, though, because it kind of, I guess, puts a retrospect in that, like, I guess, from Gentle's eyes, Deku is
the bad guy.
Antagonist, yeah.
Or the antagonist, really. But I don't know. I suppose it's stuff like this that gave My Hero its initial reputation of being a sort of, let's see, I'm trying to remember the correct term, being a...
uniqueness, I guess, element.
I think...
That was a term that was coined when...
I think it's something that people described Game of Thrones just being like reinvent the tropes, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
Something like that, but yeah. I think, let's see, when My Hero came out, let's see, at this point, most people had gotten to know what most mangas were like, Fear the Big Three, and other sort of similar popular ones like Fairy Tail. And then you had, like, My Hero, many of the tropes, but also reinventing them.
Yeah.
So, anyway, is that everyone for, like, the...
least favorite?
I guess that would be the
least favorite episode.
Yeah.
I mean, guess technically for me, I also described my least favorite worst arc.
Fair enough, yeah.
I jumped the gun ahead a little bit, but let's well, I think we can easily say that the best arc in season 4 was the first half.
Like the rescue arc, or whatever they want to call it these days.
I'm just calling it the internship.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internship.
Or the Yakuza arc, because that is much simpler and easier to remember.
Pretty much.
I guess.
But yeah, I quite liked the arc in the anime. Most of it, some of it was done at the beginning, but I think it gave them more space, I guess, to do more episodes than this one. But I think in some ways, the anime kind of cleared up some things. Perhaps I skimmed a bit too quickly in the manga. Like the backstory with, like, Overhaul and Boss and all that stuff, but yeah. So yeah, I quite liked that we had a different group of villains this time, since for the most part we had just the League of Villains. We had like the independent villain of Stain, but he became sort of associated with the group, even though he was never officially a member. Here you see a sort of alliance, though granted at the same time, two sides that see where both the respective leaders want to be like number one, and we're also there's sort of rivalry going on in there. Well, trying to also work together at the same time, at least for like means to an end. And go on.
Oh no, you're fine. I was going to add something later. I was just thinking out loud for a minute. Sorry.
And other stuff that was. Also, in many ways, this arc really tries to start building the world of My Hero Academia with some of the more other heroes outside of the top 10, for at least, with the likes of Fat Gum and that locking hero, I guess. Granted, you still got one of the top 10 in this with the number 9 hero, the Dragon Lady, Ryuk, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to see what third-year students would be like in the My Hero Academia universe with the likes of Sun Eater, Retsi, Luminion, and and the girl's name, I've forgotten what that was like, but yeah.
Right.
And you also, this is the first arc to have some major deaths in as well, with like Sir Night's death at the end, and I suppose at the beginning, Major's death, the sort of trans woman villain, I guess, that was part of the League of Villains. I mean, at the time it was shocking.
I always forget their name, yeah.
Let's see, but it was kind of shocking at the time when it first happened, though. I'm a bit disappointed we didn't get to see more of her, since I thought it might have been an interesting commentary on, I suppose, LGBT rights in Japan or something, but I guess perhaps that's probably why they killed her off soon.
Sure, let's play into that.
Yeah, we'll play into that.
No.
Alright, I'm just saying, but oh well.
You're fine.
I'm not trying to get all political correct or woke with you lot. But...
Oh shoot! That's what this was? I had no idea. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah. So yeah, but that was like my. I suppose for me the weakest arc for me this season would probably be Manga Reader's probably going to have another go at me. But I think the sort of the little training in between, I guess it felt a bit kind of fillerish with like the whole kids. Though granted, it was important to sort of like respective characters of Bakugo, Todoroki, and you got to see some characters from like the Hero License exam arc. Though granted, the main interest for me in this one was like the story with, let's say, the conversation with Endeavor and All Might. Though granted, I kind of feel like the Aoyama stuff was kind of last minute, but hey. But
so you can like things in the episode and then obviously still have disagreements with it. So I'm not really all that disappointed by that. Like there's certain, like even I'll admit in certain episodes that I might not like, there's still certain aspects to things that can come out of one episode. Right. So it's really not all that despairing to me.
No.
Honestly, I didn't even know that was an arc. I kind of just thought it was just an extension to the, or at least an add-on from it. But
from my understanding, the Wikipedia, the My Hero Wiki page counts it as a sort of separate arc. So it could be wrong. I mean, Naruto did cover the big arcs, smaller arcs. So.
Right. It's just weird that, I mean, because I know it was like, 2-3 chapters max in the manga?
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Let's see,
it was like, it's a really an arc.
It was like, from my understanding, the stuff with Bakugo and Shoto was 3 chapters, and stuff with Midoriya and Aoyama was 2, I think.
Probably. Read that part in a while, obviously. Or even looked back on it. But, well, if they consider it an arc, I guess it's an arc.
I guess it is an arc.
I know, and I just know we did kind of just shoot on that in with the Culture Festival in the podcast.
Right.
I mean...
that feels like a get-out-of-jail-free card situation. But it is an arc. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. It just seems like, well, gee, that got me out of having to pick between the Yakuza and the sports festival, because I know a lot of people, at least in the manga, actually did like the sports festival. I know For Life liked it a little bit more than the Yakuza arc, but
yeah.
I mean, as far as pacing is concerned, yeah, the sports festival is better, but as far as anime adaptation is concerned,
yeah, there's a lot more action in the Yakuza arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely heard I think I heard somewhere that anime watchers weren't quite fond of the cultural festival arc, but I can see why, because it's very different.
I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot harder to make a cultural festival work in an animation more so than a manga, because I mean, when your main event is supposed to be singing, and I actually mentioned to Lucky Chi before this podcast, I don't understand Japan's obsession with when singers are good, why they use the English voice.
That's true.
But that one caught me for a loop.
I remember that Gintama's second opening was nothing but English. Mr. Raindrop, falling away from me now.
Well,
I know Bleach did the all English, but it was Angrish.
Well, that's the weird relationship Japan has with, or at least the internet culture Japan has with the United States, you know?
Right.
It's just like after World War II, it was just predominantly, you know, we keep building that relationship where, you know, in earlier anime, you know, the English in there wasn't exactly all too good, and even the written stuff was kind of weird. Like,
Right.
but as time went, you know, as time goes on, and you know, the internet starts developing, brings the world together, and Japan's fascination with the English language improves to the point where we got some more predominant English going on.
Angry. Yeah.
In some ways,
English.
it's very hard to find even a single Japanese opening without some form of the English language in it.
Yeah, sometimes it's really fluent. Like, again, a lot of times the singing tends to be super fluent. And then other times when they just speak their English, it's really, really broken. So I guess it depends on what they feel is necessity for it. Again, it's not bad.
I mean, take a look at I can't say. I can't say this right. Hironobu Kaguyama's English rendition of Chala Hedchala, and you'll see what we mean.
Yeah.
Like, it works in Japanese, not so much in English.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I sometimes hate when dubs actually, when an actually really good Japanese sub theme. Dragon Ball, you're very bad at this.
To be fair, it's only really Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, and Dragon Ball that still do like English.
Well, I know for Pokemon, they actually just changed the themes up entirely.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
With Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't even think they did anything. They just had this really stock music playing over the damn opening title.
Yo!
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains Onward is iffy on the opening themes.
I was going to say,
as far as the English opening themes are concerned, but yeah, it's well, I'll agree with you on Manga Reader. I'll agree with you that when the English companies either, I mean, I like it when with One Piece, I liked it when Funimation actually properly translated the openings, and the only reason they stopped was because right around opening 5, Toei started using pop songs rather than create their own openings. And in turn, that leads to more licensing money on Funimation. It's like, why bother?
Nope.
Remember how the first 2 seasons of Naruto were Rise, Suyo Sun.
Yeah. I kind of
that was better than the original Japanese opening.
Yeah.
Come on.
And the first one kind of grew on me after the fact, but it definitely wasn't that great.
It's an action-packed anime, and what do you have as a theme song? A slow 80s rock.
Whoa! Yeah!
And it's like, visuals just do not match what the song is about.
Wasn't the third opening our second, or did we? I always get this wrong. Yeah.
So here's the thing: the first Japanese opening never used. Second Japanese opening, it was used as our third opening.
Right.
The third Japanese theme song was never used.
Yep. And then we just started using.
But then by the fourth Japanese song, we decided to use it as our fourth opening.
Yeah.
Just to get everything.
We are fighting demons.
Okay, let's see. From now on, they just did the Japanese openings, but they did put English subtitles in them.
Yeah.
I think there's...
at least on television. On DVDs, you're shit out of luck.
I think DVDs, they
just did... actually manually turn on the subtitles.
I think on the DVDs, they actually just used the original Japanese openings as well.
Only My Hero Academia could derail our conversations to theme song openings.
Sorry, I just want to also comment quickly that Oh, so since the UK has a bit of few censor laws or blood stuff, that's part of that thing. But anyway, back to the thing, which was
back to our discussions at hand.
The worst arc, the intern.
Are we doing the best worst, or are we doing it at the same time? I don't remember anymore.
I think it was.
It was gonna be a transition, but since Blue Star,
it was a transition, but now everyone's kind of like did their own thing. I guess before I even say best work arc, I think the only thing that also stood out to me was the fact that it's amazing that we got to see like someone blown off their entire first body, the top half of their body blown off in the start of the season. But I think, but the one person that he was Blue Star was talking about, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we get to wow, I can't remember. I know Chisaki's name, but I can't remember our main villain's name right now.
Overhaul.
Well, not Overhaul. I'm talking about the League of Villains. Shigaraki, yeah. Mind blank there. I've said his name almost a million times, and for some reason, yeah, when Shigaraki cuts off Chisaki's hands, we don't even get to see that. It just happens off. It's like we see him like deteriorate him, but then off screen, then we see his hands like thrown on the sidewalk. In the manga, I thought he exploded after that.
I thought Shigaraki actually like body
like straight up killed it or whatever. Yeah, I thought he died in the manga too, but the anime sure as hell made it look like they just left him on the side of the road. So I don't know. I'm kind of left wondering now on that one, but. I knew for a fact in the manga that he did cut off the hand thing because I remember having a discussion with a friend of mine that was like, no, he just killed him straight up. I'm like, no, I think he gave him like the option of either living and not having a quirk or dying on the side of the road or something like that. But either way, I don't know how, based on the anime, it looked like he just left him there and we have no idea what happened to him.
Yeah.
But
I think the manga was stronger on that front, at least.
Yeah. So, I mean, best work arc is really kind of, I mean, you have the festival arc that has probably the better storyline.
Yeah.
But you have the Yakuza arc that has clearly the better action pace that you'd probably expect out of a shonen manga.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
I'd look at it like this. Like, for me, and this might just mean, from an action standpoint... I'm gonna go with Pro Hero. I know it takes up 2 episodes in the season when it's only like 10 chapters in the manga.
Right.
But from an action standpoint, I would take the Pro Hero arc, and then from a storyline standpoint, I'd probably the Culture Festival.
Yeah.
And then the worst arc.
Can't really count the ending because it's just starting that arc.
Remedial? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could count the end of the season.
It's definitely moments, but it's like, it is kind of there.
Yeah, I was going to say, because, I mean, if you read the manga, obviously you know how Season 5 starts off. I guess it would depend on how much you really cared for that, but I guess you could say, worst arc was the end of the season, but it probably isn't, but I know someone out there's probably thinking that. Oh man, Endeavor's getting character development. This is bull.
No, and I think for me the reason why I picked the Pro Hero arc is because of what was it? Like I think they took 7 chapters, right? Like the fact that they took 7 chapters and made it consistent and fluid within like the last 2 episodes. Like that really stood out because I didn't think. Well, okay, I thought the most we would get for the Pro Hero arc would probably be like say just the introduction, and then maybe Season 5 opens up with that, but... With
the fight? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we actually got literally all of it in 2 episodes.
Yeah, that was the surprising part for me.
That's left is like the aftermath, which is...
Yeah.
Which I think you could technically cover, because they're going to have a recap episode, make no mistake about that, but I think they could cover that bit with a recap itself.
Granted, they did kind of cut the pacing a bit of like the end, what was supposed to be the actual ending. and the beginning of like the next arc afterwards as like the cliffhanger for this season, as a way just to hype up, I suppose, people for season 5.
Oh yeah.
I guess for me that would be my best arc and worst arc would be the pro hero arc. Storyline standpoint would be Culture Festival, and then the least favorite would be the Remedial Course arc.
Remedial Course? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's the 2 episodes. I mean, like I said, I could argue that it's my best and worst at the same time. It's like you said, it's just two episodes, so it doesn't really accomplish
a whole lot
much that could have been, yeah. I mean, it definitely set up things, though, so I don't know. The best and worst is kind of, in season 4, is kind of tricky, because I think it was one of the ones that stayed rather consistent to itself throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
And I know rabid My Hero fans would say, there's no bad things! My Hero Academia is perfect! Except for Endeavor. Endeavor is terrible, and you should never try and be anything more than what he already is.
I think the whole Endeavor stuff actually had some controversy with fans in Japan, apparently. Whether or not
What's that?
The Endeavor Redemption arc he's going
through.
Wait,
yeah.
I should say, I laughed my ass off like when he was gonna give the pen an autograph, and he's like, "No, Endeavor is not supposed to be cool. He's changed."
No, he's supposed to be a good dad now. People would tell you nowadays that you can't change if you've been bad in the past, though. That's not it.
Yeah, you already.
To be fair to the well, at least for the public, at least in the world of My Hero Academia, a sudden change of character does seem out of the blue. Despite perhaps the off-scripty, off-public appearance, he's changed quite a bit. But yeah.
Well, it might have came out of the blue, but I think being thrust into the number 1 spot in the public's eye kind of forced him.
That makes sense, yeah.
I mean, he lost his rival, which he never really beat as in his own terms. He wanted to be the strongest, which he never got to that peak. So he's basically handed the role of number 1 hero just out of
a hand-me-down in a sense.
Yeah, which is what he was telling him. Like, I think at the end of season 3, it's like, I didn't want this. I wanted to beat you. I didn't want the mantle to just be handed to me. I wanted to beat you on my own. But I obviously didn't have a true starting point per se. Just being thrust in that situation, we just have to assume being thrust in that situation kind of made him think. And then obviously his discussion with All Might really put it into perspective that, you know what, maybe I wasn't that keen on the past. I should probably try and correct that, maybe? I don't know. But if you think about it, Endeavor's arc is still kind of mirroring, if you're basing it on past recollections and all that, it's kind of mirroring his son's Shoto. Because, Shoto didn't even want to use his left side in battle, which Midoriya was like, make that power your own, essentially, which is what All Might is saying, make the symbol of peace your own.
Yeah, don't just try to implement me.
Don't try to become the person that they want you to be, try to become the person you want to be. So, it's interesting. I will admit that, I'm not going to spoil things here because that's more manga related than anime. I was just going to say that I'm interested in seeing how that family dynamic will play out going forward.
I know. I think for some people it is probably going to be very hard to accept this kind of change in Endeavor because they might have had real life experiences like this, but who knows?
Well, yeah, obviously in real life it's a lot more difficult to try and comprehend, but there are situations that actually, it's not like it's uncommon in the world. It might not be, it's not common, but it's not particularly rare either. I guess uncommon is a good way of saying it.
It happens
yes.
It does.
Obviously, it's how you decide to take on those challenges or whatnot, but as is, I think it's really cool to see that he's trying to change, so
So are we going to now talking about our favorite opening?
Yeah, which
There's only 2 in this.
I don't know.
Except for the first season, there's always 2 each season.
I mean, I don't necessarily know what my favorite is because they're both kind of there for me personally.
Animation-wise, yeah, My Hero's never been good, but I think vocal-wise, it's up to you.
The first opening of the season kind of feels like something you'd kind of standardly get with My Hero Academia, while the second opening is something you'd see more in a slice of life manga, but it kind of fits the tone. In many ways, it's kind of like how Attack on Titan had a very different opening compared to like the ones shown before it. And then the second half had more the standard of the series, while the first half of the season was still the standard, while the second half was something a bit more different. Granted, I will admit, the first opening of the season kind of me of opening 16 Shellowette, but I think that was just mostly due to the little brief flashback scenes at the beginning of the opening.
Yeah, but even with the first opening, like I don't think it matched up to say like the first opening of season 3, or in this case, the first opening of season 2.
No one's ever gonna let season 2 go.
I mean, I'm in the unpopular opinion that the season 3 opening, the first one at least, is better than the second one, but that's just me.
Yeah, you're gonna find it really hard to find someone that likes season 1 more than 2, but I digress on that one.
But to be honest, I haven't really figured out. I've never really looked into what people have said about each of the respective openings. And for a long time, I considered the first opening to be probably the best, but I think I might have changed to like possibly season 3's, season 2's opening 2, or season 3's opening 1. But I do like season. But for me, I suppose for this season, it would probably be season. Let's see. 4's first opening, I think it kind of fits. Like, it's got a sort of somber feel due to the fact that this is like we're having like the well, technically, season 3 opening 2 was like the first opening without All Might. This is like the first serious like mission or hero stuff they're doing post the world of All Might, and it's sort of like got this sort of serious drama to it, with particularly this trying to rescue the girl Eri, particularly like how they were with Team Midoriya and Eri were falling down, trying to reach for each other, and you kind of had towards the end where you had like Midoriya and all his school friends walking in sort of like hero kind of like way. But yeah,
I think 3-2 is guilty pleasure of mine. I think that was the provisional license opening one.
Yeah, that was the one. Base my story or something.
Yeah, it's my story. It's my story.
Oh, it's
na 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 na. Yeah, that one. That one's more of a guilty pleasure. I mean, if we're talking openings for just this season, I definitely listened to season 4-1 a lot. I mean, that's kind of just because that was the only one I was listening to before I even realized it was a 4-2. But yeah, if we're talking about just favorite openings in general, still, I think for me, nothing still tops 2-1. Season 2 opening 1.
Season 2 opening 1.
Yeah, like I said, guilty pleasure mine's 3-2, but yeah, if I had to pick favorite opening still throughout the entire so far 4 seasons, season 2 opening 1 still probably the best for me.
I don't know. For me, my favorite opening, I think, would have to be season 3 opening 2, but only because I'm a sucker for techno voice.
Yeah, it was a good one.
The English techno voice in season 3 opening 2 it's not too bad. But again, it all comes down to personal taste, and personally, I'm a sucker for those. Otherwise, if we were to compare favorite openings between season's 4 openings, I guess for story-wise, I like the first opening better than the second. Because again, as far as the manga is concerned, while the school festival arc is better paced, in the anime, everyone looks forward to the fighting. And there's nothing better than seeing fighting heroes duking it out in an opening. So But as far as all-time favorite opening, out of all 6 openings so far, yeah, season 3 opening 2.
Yeah, no bad. Yippee!
Nice. As far as season 4s go, probably the first opening. Again, I'm not gonna say like I'm like a huge fan of both of them, but if I had to pick one, probably the first one.
Mm-hmm.
All time would probably be season 3 opening 1. Which now gets us to our predictions for season 5. Okay.
Season 5.
Now,
Well,
let me be clear. I'm not going to spoil what happens in season 5, but let's just say the arc they're about to tackle left it split in the fan base. Long story.
Left its impression.
well, that's putting it mildly, to be sure.
The most controversial, in many ways, it's perhaps the equivalent of the Kage Summit arc for Naruto. In
I wouldn't
terms
go
of
that far, but
maybe when the fan
little
base starts getting, I guess when the fan base start getting divided, I guess. But anyway, but maybe that's too much of an exaggeration. But it's definitely the one that, for the first time, actually split the fan base in 2.
yeah. I mean,
Oh, jeez.
you've heard from people like, okay, yeah, the internship arc's a little bit, but you know, for a good majority of people did still like the arc. It wasn't until like the arc that we're gonna tackle in season 5 is where there's like a huge split down the middle.
Oh, good old 4 life. Yep.
Oh yes, I still remember when I first said that that arc could potentially be better than the current saga,
The best arc, yeah, I remember that.
and had a bit of a go at me. At first, I was a bit surprised at how much he was having a go at me, but this was more off-screen. But in terms of pacing for season 5, I expect at least one more episode for the pro hero stuff, which tackles the aftermath of the fight with Endeavor and High End. I expect of course, the joint training arc and the Meta Liberation Army or the My Villain Academia arc.
Spoilers!
It's
kidding.
And given some of the pacing with like this season and last season, I'm actually even expecting the second internship arc to probably be some of the last.
Yeah.
actually,
So that for next season they can do the current arc probably in its full glory.
well, here's an interesting thing about this. The joint training arc was 24 chapters, right?
Yeah.
That was also the time when the chapters were like 10 or so pages. So realistically, if you're looking at that arc, I think you could tackle that in say like 7 or 8 episodes.
And you're probably going to have the League of Villain, the Meta Liberation Army, probably like 10 to 11 perhaps, and then perhaps the rest will be like the arc I just mentioned.
The Endeavor Agency arc, yeah.
Yeah, the Endeavor Agency one. And then
you could always pad it out. And I'm saying this because there was quite a lot of skipping during, not skipping, but less than, since it was...
I guess it depends on if Bones wants to add any extra filler scenes in to expand on the... Like they did in Season 2 when they had Endeavor fight those Nomus.
Yeah. I don't know if it's not technically adding filler. I think it's just filling in the blank. Well, take your take on filler, but filling in the blanks on what we all expect, since a manga can only cover so much fighting on so many pages. I could maybe see the next arc max 10, but probably won't. They probably aren't going to pad it as much as I would hope.
No.
Mainly because I'd prefer if they were going to tackle the arc after, that it'd be kind of like a 2-parter, essentially. We were hanging, but no, they'll probably do both arcs at once, and then, like you said, probably do the second internship, more or less, to kind of start off.
It might make sense for them to end season 5 with that arc.
Yeah.
The internship arc.
I'll be interested. If they don't do what we say and they actually do something a little different, that would be I would hope it'd be better. I mean, if it's shocking in the bad way, then that'd be like, well, did not expect this. But
I mean, that's kind of what season 4 turned out, because I initially thought, all right, we're probably just going to cover the internship arc and the culture festival arc. I didn't think we were going to get almost 95% of the pro hero arc.
Right.
They're definitely burning through. Yeah. I'll just say for expectation wise, for now I'm probably setting the bar a little higher than I should, but I think they can make it seem a little more, for the people that feel that the manga is split, I think they could maybe swing it back towards the good side, but
You think so?
I'm going to give them a little leeway on that, because again, when it comes to fighting, they seem to be able to handle those things quite well. I never really feel bad about their animation. I know a couple people will point out a couple still frames aren't all that great, but no, animation-wise, I never really felt My Academia fell short. So I think they can.
Let's go on.
I was just going to say, I think they can tackle this next arc pretty well.
I am curious because, from what I can tell, most of the fighting, at least in most of the fighting for this one, would mostly be group battles where you have more than one person. And from what I can tell, most studios seem to have a hard time doing this. At least,
right.
Most of those studios that end up doing group battles usually end up turning their series into a weekly, like Naruto did.
Well, I mean, this isn't much of a spoiler. It's just how it's structured in terms of like the fights, right? And without going into specific who fight too, but I think there's a total of like 5-ish, right? 5-ish rounds.
There's 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I expect maybe like the first 3 to be tackled in not one episode, but like let's say one episode each. And then 5.
Final 2 should.
I could definitely see the final episode being split into 2 episodes, but as far as the first 3 goes, maybe
For match 4 and match 5, for development standpoints, I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to do 2 episodes for each of them.
Yeah.
I'd be a little surprised if at least for 4 they got 2 episodes out of it, just because of how in the manga how really one-sided that fight ended up truly being. But
that fight ended up being the quickest, I think, out of all the fights, I believe. I don't know. I thought the second fight also ended up being a lot quicker than what
it kind of did.
I remember that was when 4Live started complaining about the arc.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
he would have some.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to try and give him some credit here. So I'm going to put the expectations just a little above, high, normal, and low. I'm going to put them a little in between high and normal.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna set the bar high because, again, I don't think anything ever really delivers on that standpoint. But I think a little over normal, like in between high and normal, should be pretty good. So anything below that doesn't necessarily make the season bad. It just means that obviously I didn't get what I was expecting.
No.
Still be good. It just wouldn't be as high as I wanted it to be. So yeah, like I said, I personally think that they could somehow make the rounds better, but
they'll fix the pacing for sure. That's
right.
That's what almost ends up happening every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how the tuning exam really ended up playing in the manga, because I'll admit, I
actually read some of those chapters, and some of the fights, at least in the second round, were a lot quicker than the episodes, I will admit. Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because when I started Naruto, I actually was strictly anime. It wasn't until around the Shippuden when I started reading the manga heavily. So
it was like, let's see, I stuck to the anime into like the Hidden Kakuzu, and then the manga I got into the ground was around the pain arc. But sorry, go on.
Damn, Blue, you took forever. I started early Shippuden.
To be fair, I didn't actually know what manga was.
Fair enough.
Not until like I started checking out the Wikipedia page, and it's like, wait, who's this character?
No, that's good.
Like, so there's, and then I saw YouTube videos of like manga chapters. Like, wait, what? Okay, and it's like the content. It's black and white comics. Interesting.
Oh, balls! No, I joined the Narasaku site around the Pain arc, obviously, but
Me, unfortunately, it took a bit longer, but hey.
I feel like I joined it. Well, either I did join it around that time, or I joined it earlier and never really did anything till around that time. But oh well, I knew someone on DeviantArt, which was Toast. I don't know if you guys remember Toasty Warrior or not, but he was the one that showed me to that site, which was yeah. Either way.
For me, I never really interacted with the Naruto fan base until towards the end.
James. Anyway.
Well, season 5 production-wise is going to be interesting because of this whole coronavirus. I wonder how long they're going to take to do it. Probably.
I heard that. I heard they started recording that.
Also, considering how season 4 aired in Japan, usually they would air. The first 3 seasons they usually started in the spring and worked their way around to the summer and early fall. But this time around, I wonder if Funimation had a hand in telling the Japanese producers, could you hold off on airing it until the fall, so that Toonami, because when you compare the Japanese airings to the Toonami airings, they were basically just practically 1 month apart.
About, yeah.
And I have to wonder if Funimation had a hand in that, saying, now, could you hold off until Toonami's done running the season 3 episodes? Or at least very nearly done?
Yeah, because this aired in October last year.
I believe
is when it started.
Yeah, because I remember thinking, Toonami got in late in the game, and they just aired seasons 1 through 3 back to back.
Yep.
And I was wondering how they would handle season 4. And when spring 2019 came around, no announcement from the producers of My Hero Academia, and I was like, huh. And then later on in the summer, it was like, oh, it'll be premiering during the fall season. And so yeah, I'm left wondering for season 5 if Funimation's gonna have their hand in it again as far as the air date is concerned.
That's possible.
It could benefit them anyway in this case, but since the whole coronavirus thing and whatnot. I just know right now, I think a lot of studios over there have started back up or whatnot. At least looks like anime is a little bit poor.
I believe One Piece is returning this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're returning in some, limited capacity. Where practically, they bring in a couple animators, and all the voice actors either run the risk of coming in and contracting the virus or doing the work at home.
That's it. But anyways, in some ways, it might have been a bit beneficial for them to have some breaks, as it allowed the mangakas to pacing and not have to.
Right.
At least, and that might be. Granted, I'm not saying that this is the good thing for COVID-19. It's just it's something that's on the flip side for some people. Being a bit more, gave them more time to do with their normal work. So, granted,
I expect a lot of anime-only watchers' arguments for season 5 just blow up.
Oh, especially that first arc when it hit season.
What do you mean it's not ready yet? Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for when that season starts. They're gonna be like, okay.
I still got a podcast for that. It's going to be the first half of the season. Lucky Chi. It's probably your most viewed since the internship one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true there.
Oh man.
Granted, I've forgotten what I said except for that at the very beginning.
But yeah, it's season 5 definitely going to be interesting. Definitely.
I'll definitely say this. I'm looking more forward to the next arc after the first arc that they cover then.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, Lucky Chi, what'd you do if they do the arc so well, the first half, that ends up becoming your favourite?
You gotta do a lot to make it that.
Backflips. That's what'll happen. Backflips. Have to go on live camera.
I mean,
Do a backflip.
to be fair, Blue, you did say this about the internship arc, and I'll say this: like, okay, the first half of the internship arc is great. Second half kind of dragged because of the pacing, which the anime did fix. So I'll give the anime credit on that. In terms of the next arc, though, for season 5, I don't know.
Yeah, why does everyone dislike that? I mean, it's not good by not good. I just mean not good by My Hero Academia standards. But I didn't hate that arc per se. But that's just me. So we'll see. Like I said, I think that they can maybe at least salvage it. But
probably, yeah.
Let's see.
Now that I kind of forgot about the whole virus thing, maybe I should just have expectations at normal.
To be honest, it's more. Let's see. I don't really dislike that arc. It's just that For Life and Lucky Chi have such a go at me.
I know. How dare you ruin it by saying that it would be the best arc ever?
Blue?
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain I've said probably the saga, but
Oh, the saga itself. Well, no. Okay. You somewhat got saved by the second half.
Oh well.
Not in 4 life size, but in the most of our eyes, the second half saved.
Ever since then, I now threaten Lucky Chi. Don't make me say this could be the best arc of the. Like, back off, Lucky Chi.
This is why we dub him the cursed child, folks. He's like his mom. Everything he touches dies.
And so I shall be a blight upon the land. Everything I touch shall wither and die.
Well, to be fair, it's actually the comments in the internship arc that you got the nickname, but how can I be a test?
Actually, here's something I forgot to throw in, but in terms of ranking the seasons, where would you guys put this?
Oh, man.
I'll say that for me, I'd still say season 3 is probably the best, and then go to season 2. And I think this one, it's like right between 2 and the first season.
I think for me, it's either season 2 or 3 as the top, and season 4 and 1 as the bottom.
For me, it goes 3, 1, 2, 4.
Interesting.
Shoot, because I think 4 unfortunately still kind of falls, despite having some better moments overall. I think the package itself is kind of lackluster at times. I think season 1's got to be number 2. I'm just being torn between season 3 and season 2, because season 2 had the sports festival, which was good at setting things up, but then you had the provisional license in season 3, which helped clarify a lot of things. I think it's got to be 3, 1, 2, 4.
3, 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, 3's number 1, 2's number 3's number 1, 2's 1, or 1 is 2, 2 is 3, and 4 is 4. We'll get those numbers right one day.
So, from what I understand, you said season 2, season 1, season 3, and season 4.
Just switch season 3 and season 2. I have it 3, 1, 2, 4.
Oh dear.
3, 1, 2, 4.
Just like me.
Yeah, I know. I just happened to think of it like that. I'm like, personally, 2 and 1 are interchangeable, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, all of them could be interchangeable.
It could be.
Could be 1, 1, 1, 2.
I mean, I guess for me, season 3 would probably still be at the top, just because that was kind of like the game changer for the series.
Well, it had 3 of the best. Yeah, 3 of the best fights. Yeah, because it had Deku versus Bakugo. It had All Might versus
All for One.
One for All. Yeah, All for One. And then, just fighting the League of Villains was pretty cool too. But the Deku versus whatever that stupid muscular. Deku versus Muscular. Yeah, I was like, whatever that muscle guy. Oh wait, his name was that Muscular.
Muscular.
Very, very obvious name to pick there, guys. Really,
To be fair, that's the same with like supervillains.
I know, like
comics.
50%. Yeah, 90% of everyone in this series decides to do something. Although Shoto hero name is Shoto.
Well, remember, Midoriya's hero's name is Deca, which is supposed to be good for nothing, but
Yeah, we know.
We know.
Yeah, it's a name that stuck.
Thank you, Ochiko.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ochiko.
Everyone's favorite waifu in My Hero. Well, actually, that might be actually Toga, even though she'd probably drain your blood, but hey.
Yeah, Toga's really popular.
I was gonna say, I'm still waiting for that next big Ochiko moment, since the sports festival. Oh, who knows?
One day.
One day.
One day.
Unless, of course, Koei does a Kishimoto.
Yes.
You will
You
will die by holy water. If that happens, the whole series just goes up in flames. We're not having it. Nope, My Hero Academia. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know what that show is.
Ooh.
You've heard it here, folks. Blue Star has forever cursed the potential for Ochiko.
The
Okay, so
potential
pretty much, if Ochiko doesn't get a one-on-one fight soon, you're going to be blaming it on me.
Yes.
Besmirched.
Oh boy.
The name.
Well, I guess I look forward to when we discuss the next My Hero Academia podcast.
Which reminds me, I have to get back to reading that. I haven't read since, I think, the end of February.
I mean, it wouldn't be much. Okay, so as far as the manga goes, I think what we'd be covering would just be the Hero agency arc, Endeavor 1.
Yeah, because is the current arc still ongoing then?
It's still ongoing. I don't
Yeah.
know yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
it seems to be...
That means that's good for me, but yeah. That's pretty
it's
long.
It seems to be the mega arc, although it seems to be the My Hero Academia's version of a war. Perhaps spoilers, by the way, people.
I swear to God, it better not be ending soon. It feels like it just started. There's so much to do.
I mean, I guess you could say this isn't a spoiler. The Rise of the Villain Saga's final arc. Oh, what was the word I was going to use? The Hideout Raid arc. It's kind of making it feel like that almost. But yeah, folks. We've been beating a dead horse at this point, but
oops.
Yeah. Season 5. Ooh, what a start that will be. What a start that will be.
Before we know, the anime-only watchers might be entirely different from the manga readers.
You lucky folks.
You want to bet that? You want to bet that?
I'd rather not.
How about that? If they turn out to hate it even more than what happened in the manga, your resignation. Pen and paper.
Resignation.
You can't keep me resigned. I refuse to resign.
You're demoted from Blue Star to whatever is lower than blue on the whatever scale that is.
I don't know. You can always create your own BlueStarSaber ranking system.
I was just gonna think from cool colors. I'm trying to think what's lower than blue.
I was gonna say what's the opposite of blue, but
what's the opposite of blue? Well, that would be Orange Star.
Orange Star.
Nothing doesn't work.
Really, it's Yellow Star though, because when you invert blue, it's yellow. So it'd be Yellow Star Saber.
Probably. Lemon Star. There we go.
Lemon Star Saber.
Oh, great! A new nickname for me.
Yeah, whenever things go bad, we're just gonna start calling you Lemon Star Saber.
Oh dear.
Guess I'm calling you Unlucky. I'm going to call you Unlucky Chi 7 Lucky Chi.
Hey,
Unlucky.
Wow. Great comeback.
When life gives you lemons, you take it to Blue Star.
Oh boy. I've become everyone's punching bag.
That's not true. It's just hilarious how the inverting of your color ends up being something that works for a punchline.
This is the difference between me and Blue Star. He will say in an arc will be best, it ends up being worst. And if I say, "Yeah, look, it won't be the comeback arc, but it'll be decent enough," and I end up being right half the time. So it shows how the Star Sailing worked out.
Nice.
Blue Star is the all for one. I'm the one for all.
Wow. You're so harsh, Lucky Chi.
Hey, you got all the powers.
True.
You've got every power known to man. Man, these heroes are weird. I feel like everyone has to be at least somehow, in some way, still superhuman, despite whatever their quirk is. Freaking Sir Night-Eye with impaled literally where his heart would be is somehow still alive.
That's true.
Well, he did eventually die, remember?
We know that, but he somehow survived long enough to, yeah.
When he got to the hospital. Although, what are the chances of Gentle coming back as a hero? Because I know they left on the keys.
I know, it seems to imply that, possibly, though. Maybe, depending on, let's see if My Hero Academia is going to do a year 2, or year 3, but who knows? We'll find out then.
I was shocked to realize that they set up Despero, but I clearly did not think of it when I was reading the Gentle arc in the manga, but they definitely had showcased at least they set up the potential for that.
That's where the build-up starts.
Yeah.
There's also a little build-up in like the Hero Agency where you have that guy that Hawks takes out quickly who was going to get naked and embarrassed and blow up a building.
Yeah.
Apparently he read the book, but yeah.
Yep.
As you guys can tell from this point forward, we're just gonna drag.
We're running out of season 4 ideas.
Yes. So yeah. It's like we're enjoying this so much we just don't want it to end.
When you have nothing else to talk about, but you decide to still keep talking anyway.
You're right. Yeah. So, long story short, season 4 was definitely an interesting season. I'll give it that. And where it leaves off for season 5, well, anime onlys, I look forward to
it. I'm BlueStarSaber.
Manga Reader.
LK and I'm JH, also known as Steve.
And we will catch you guys next time, Plus Ultra.